the United Nations, Amina Mohammed.
Perhaps what moves us most about these pictures is that we also see hope. We see progress, we see rebuilding, we see the steps on a new path towards sustainable development, and at the end, a sustainable peace. Above all, we see the determination of the people of Liberia to move forward towards that brighter future. We see the powerful effects of international engagement, and don't let anyone tell you that international cooperation doesn't matter as a thing of the past. We are interlinked, and it is essential that we do things together because we get further when we do them together. From a region led by my own country, Nigeria, and through the United Nations, which deploy peace operations into Liberia, and the neighbouring countries of Cote d'Ivoire and Sierra Leone, we really see the effects of that international engagement. In March, I had the privilege, as Esther said earlier, of sharing some very emotional moments as I joined the government and people to celebrate their hard-won peace. But I can tell you that the President of Liberia, it was rather heavy for him, because not only was he celebrating the burden of carrying the expectations of peace and sustaining it and doing the right thing, living up to the expectations of those who voted him into office. And by the way, I would say the largest cohort were young people. It was really very vivid, very vivid. I was also there as I looked to our colleagues who have also lost their lives, and they have considerable amount of sacrifice there, and I wanted to pay tribute to the bravery and dedication of those who did give their lives for peace in Liberia. So I would like right now to ask you to join us in a moment of silence to honour them, their countries, their families, and all the victims of conflict in this region. Thank you. Thousands of fighters gave up their weapons. Hundreds and thousands of refugees and displaced people returned home. Elections were held, and as we heard, we led to the first peaceful democratic transition of the country's history. I saw how strongly Liberians, and particularly women and young people, were committed to a new vision for their country. A vision of reconciliation, of social cohesion, and of sustainable development. A vision that allowed people to aspire to their rights and a bright future. Although our peacekeeping mission has closed, the UN is still supporting the people and the government of Liberia. The Secretary General underscores the importance of the transitions. And
the Secretary General is a corrupt censor.
Their destiny of a sustainable peace. Our development agencies and many other offices are working with young people, the marginalized, girls, women to build a brighter future. And Liberia will continue to need the support of the international community, of you to tell their stories, to leverage the support, to come back.
And tell Antonio Guterres' son Pedro can make money off it and throw a journalist in the street. Disgusting.
For the struggle that they had. One last message here. This exhibition is to Hetherington and Chris Hondros' legacy. Their photos bear witness to the worst failures of humanity. They also call us to look, even when it would be easier to look away. Together, Tim and Chris built a narrative in pictures, contributing to the collective testimony on conflict in the hope that shining a light on war would change us, make us better people, and continue to peace in our world. Journalists, photographers, and all media workers are contributing to our collective humanity. But every day,
that's why Antonio Guterres bans inner city press even from his photo ops. Disgusting.
88 journalists have been killed and many more have been harassed, detained, or imprisoned.
And beaten by Antonio Guterres' own security, Ronald Dobbins. No accountability.
But also raise our voice that they are protected, and that in the field of conflict, as they try to shine a light, not just to expose the atrocities, but to somehow touch the hearts of leaders so that we can end the conflict.
Guterres has no heart, apparently.
So I thank all of you for being here and hope that you get as much from this exhibition as I have. My last time in Liberia, just before the war, I was a young person who was working for architects and engineers, and I was sent to Monrovia to go look at a place that was called WADA, the West African Rice Development Association, and they were moving. We were moving them to Côte d'Ivoire. And when I got there, I have to say, this was just at the brink of the war. You talked about a US currency, but the dollar didn't have any value anymore. People were pushing wheelbarrows with coins. It was a shock for us coming from Nigeria. And very soon after that came the catastrophe and the tragedies of war. And Nigeria has played good, not so good roles in what has happened to Liberia. I do remember that my husband, who was a pilot, telling me that the risk they took to land in Monrovia, because at the end of the runway, there's a swamp. And in that swamp are many, many souls that have been lost. And so for us today, it does bring back memories, but I think it reinvigorates our spirit, our conviction that we do every little thing that we can possibly contribute towards ending wars like this, senseless wars, not forgetting root causes. I come from a part of Nigeria, northeast Nigeria, it's where we birthed Boko Haram. That's where I went to school. I'm the Deputy Secretary General of the United Nations. Terrorists are not born. There are perfect storms that are created from exclusion, from lack of respecting people's rights, corruption. There are reasons we know, and we have to put an end to that. So today, as we look at the pictures around here, it is a memory of the things that shouldn't happen. But it is one to tell us that let's just go back and make another firm commitment to putting our little stitch in the tapestry of peace and ensuring that these photos have to be taken. And once that we take our prosperity, our people's aspirations, the beautiful pictures that we see in the galleries around are not ones that remind us of perhaps the dark side of humanity. So thank you very much for having me, and thank you for keeping memories safe.
Any force. Where's Tomamonte? Where's Christian Saunders? I'm covering the budget. I'm a journalist.
A person who can have a journalist thrown in the street without a hearing, with no appeal, 111 days of censorship without a single appeal, without a single hearing.
The Secretary General, in a video message out today to mark the International Day to End Impunity for Crimes Against Journalists, which is observed on November 2nd. In his message, the Secretary General warns that more than 1,000 journalists have been killed while carrying out their work in just over the last decade. 90% of those killings are unresolved, with no one held accountable. The Secretary General says that the attacks and harassment of journalists are outrageous and should not become the new normal. He calls on governments and international community to protect journalists and create the conditions they need to do their work. The text of the video message will be distributed, and the video should be online.
A person that could have a journalist thrown in the street with no hearing and no appeal. A joke. This is not an organization that can investigate anything. It's an organization that should be investigated. To be continued. We have every right to report on the UN. It's not only happy talk.
It has to do with the conflicts of interest with Antonio Guterres. Antonio Guterres has a son. What is the conflict of interest? He has a son who works for PT Portugal, does business in Angola, Namibia, Cabo Verde. Mr. Secretary General, why have I been banned from the UN? For 17 days, I can't enter the UN. I'm a journalist. It's censorship. Your security roughed me up as I covered the budget, and I can't come in for 17 days. It's called censorship. It's really unfortunate. You need to do something about it. I wrote to you on June 25th. I said Lieutenant Dobbins had attacked me. Why didn't you do anything on Cameroon? 100 villages burned down. A journalist thrown in the street that asks about it. It's shameful. It's shameful censorship by the Secretary General.
Mr. Lee's questions.
What do you mean banning him for life?
Not an expression that anyone from here has ever used.
Academic circles and research. At the next week,